Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to Voices of Leadership, where we analyze leadership in action. I'm your host, Mr. Ste, and today we have got an incredible show lined up for you. We are diving deep into the fascinating world of leadership, dissecting what makes great leaders tick, and exploring the nuances of different leadership styles. I'm thrilled to be joined in the studio this evening by an exceptional panel of guests, each bringing their unique perspectives and insights. From Ilorin, we have Ola Olua, also all the way from the vibrant city of Lagos. A warm welcome to Tosin, Ovie, and Ngozi. And last but certainly not the least, joining us all the way from Port Harcourt, we have Bamidele and Benson. And to our studio audience and those listening to us from home, welcome to you all. It is absolutely fantastic to have you here, Olaoluwa, Tosin, Ovie, Ngozi, Bamidele, and Benson. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah,
Thank you so
for
much.
having us.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this chat for a while now, and finally we are here. So today our expert panel will be analyzing two compelling case studies of leaders who truly exemplify distinct leadership approaches. We'll be reflecting on their strengths, examining the challenges they faced, and ultimately understanding how their unique leadership qualities shaped their journeys and outcomes. So get ready for some insightful discussion, thought-provoking analysis, and perhaps even a few surprises. This is the Voices of Leadership, and we are just getting started. In our first case study, we are going to be dissecting a fascinating case study focusing on a truly impactful figure, Pastor David. So, Pastor David's ministry is in a local church, didn't begin with immediate success. In his first year as the leader of the youth group, he encountered resistance from several long-standing members. They didn't agree with his vision and expectations for the group, which included regular involvement and commitment to the church events. Despite the initial challenges, Pastor David's leadership has since transformed the youth group, which now thrives with regular participation, vibrant spiritual growth, and a commitment to the community. Pastor David has built a deep sense of unity and teamwork, emphasizing that ministry is not about individual achievement, but a collective effort to glorify God. He begins every season of ministry with church-wide retreats, followed by week-long intense Bible study and team-building program. This is known as the Unity Week for the church youth group, a time for bonding, spiritual renewal, and service. Regardless of their individual levels of faith, everyone participates in shared devotional time, prayer, and service, understanding that they are all part of a greater mission. Pastor David encourages his leaders to take ownership of their roles within the group. Senior leaders are expected to model maturity in their faith and lead by example, guiding the younger members of the group with wisdom. Junior leaders serve as mentors, and assist in planning group activities, while newer members are expected to learn from established leaders and contribute as they grow in the spiritual understanding. Even the newest members are given small tasks that help them integrate into ministry culture with guidance and support from the rest of the team. Each week, Pastor David holds a 20-minute devotional and group check-in where every team member has the opportunity to offer praise and raise any concerns despite being demanding. Pastor David is also caring, ensuring that his team knows they can approach him for spiritual guidance and support during tough times. He uses humor and light-hearted moments to build a culture of warmth, even during intense periods of ministry. Pastor David isn't focused on just completing tasks or programs. He's focused on building relationships with God and others, believing that through this, the work of his ministry will flourish. So I would like us to jump right into case one with some pivotal questions that will help us illuminate Pastor David's leadership style. First up, when you look at Pastor David's journey, his ministry and his achievements, what leadership traits do you believe are most responsible for his undeniable success? Olaoluwa, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Steer. You are steering the wheel so perfectly, like ever. Thank you for having me on your show. Oh, you see, from the beginning, Pastor David's story actually caught my attention. He stumbled into a space where resistance and conflict already existed, yet he didn't allow that to define him. Oh, the leadership traits that stand out to me the most are resilience, humility, emotional intelligence, and vision. He didn't just bulldoze his way through the opposition. No. Instead, he led with consistency and patience. I give it to him. Thank you, Mr. Steer.
Okay, thank you, Olawale, for this insights. Tosin, I'm curious to hear your perspective on this.
Okay, thank you so much for having me on the show as well. I would say Pastor David's success as a leader is rooted in his perseverance, clear vision, and empathy. And just like Olua rightfully said, despite early resistance, he stayed committed, leading with patience and humility. I mean, his transformational leadership style is evident in how he sets high expectations while providing the support and care needed for others to grow.
Thank you, Tosin. Yeah, thank you, Tosin. That was profound. Building on what Tosin just said, Ovie, we haven't heard from you on this yet. So how would you describe Pastor David's leadership attributes? Ovie, yeah. So how can you describe Pastor David's leadership attributes?
All right. Okay. So first of all, before I proceed, let me say thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
So back to the question. Pastor David's leadership ability is quite a combination of servant leadership and transformational leadership. You see, he didn't just delegate. He dedicated time to develop his people so that he can have more soldiers on the field. The reason is because he didn't see the ministry as a one-man show, but as a collective mission. You know, this is something that aligns with the biblical model of the body having many parts.
Okay, thank you, Ovie, for that. Um, Olaoluwa, anything you'd like to add here?
Yes, talking about Pastor David's leadership abilities. You see, what is striking is that he doesn't just lead by example. He creates a culture of ownership and inclusion. They say when you are leading and nobody is following, you're only taking a walk. Everyone has a role under him, even the newcomers. Just imagine. That's powerful because it fosters belonging and growth. Yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Olawale, for that profound insight.
Olaoluwa, you are giving
Ola,
me a new name. Olaoluwa.
Olaoluwa, I don't know why I like saying Olawale.
I
Olaoluwa.
will find you.
Thank you. So, that was really profound. Uh, Knowing that everyone has a role, even the newcomers, that's really profound. So, moving on, let's get a bit more academic, but in a really practical way. Leadership often breaks down into three key skill sets: administrative, interpersonal, and conceptual skills. So, Tosin, thinking about Pastor David, how does he stack up in administrative skills?
Thank you once again. I would say that Pastor David is highly organized in terms of, administrative skills. He coordinates, you can see how he coordinates the weekly checks-in, his structured team roles, and his planning skills. For me, I would say he has using the KITE 3 skills model, he has a very strong administrative skills. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Tosin, for that. So, building on what Tosin just said, Ovier, thinking about Pastor David in this regard, how does he stack up in interpersonal skills?
Yeah, I would say interpersonally, some of the strategies that he used that really worked for him was the weekly devotionals, the check-ins, always looking out for his members to know if they're all right. That is what one of the real characteristics of a good leader. Whenever you find out that your member, you've not seen your member for a particular period of time, it is paramount and also your responsibility to check on them, which is something that he did that really worked for him. And also approachable presence. Every leader, a good leader, is supposed to be approachable. And this is something that he exhibited. He also have some sense of humor, trying to, bring people out of their misery. There's like those that are probably that might be depressed, that might be going through one difficult thing or the other. Whatever they come close to him, to express whatever it is that they're going through, they don't live the same way. But because of his sense of humor, they always ensure that the sadness, the moodiness, everything disappears after having an encounter with him. Also, emotional support. He is always there to support his people emotionally. These are some of the strategies that really work for him. It's a people-centered actions. It builds trust and openness in the group.
All right, thank you, Ovie, for that. To expand on your comments, Olaoluwa, still thinking about Pastor David in this regard, how does he stack up in conceptual skills?
Conceptually, I think he's a visionary. Yes, he's a creator. He actually carries the creative traits of the Almighty. He created Unity Week, a concept that integrates spiritual growth, team bonding, and community impact. No. This shows a big picture thinking. Think about it. I give it to him once again.
All right, thank you, Olaoluwa. That was really profound. Um, Completely agree with you that he's a visionary and he created unity with a concept that integrates spiritual growth. Thank you once again. So, shifting gears slightly, the critical aspect of effective leadership is the ability to integrate tasks and relationship behaviors. It's about getting things done while also nurturing the human connection. How do you see Pastor David achieving this balance in his leadership approach? Anyone to weigh in on this?
Okay. Let me just say something. I mean, for me, I would say Pastor David is able to integrate tasks and relationship behaviors seamlessly. We can see how he sets clear expectations, organizes events like Bible study and team building program. I mean, and how he holds leadership accountable, demonstrating strong task-oriented leadership. At the same time, he nurtures relationship through regular checks-in, mentorship, active listening, and humor. We'll say his leadership shows that effective ministry flows from strong relationship with God and with each other, and not just from getting things done alone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tosin, for that. He actually followed up with his followers. Perhaps, Olivier, you have some insights to share on this.
Okay. In terms of the relationship and the tax behavior, this is where Pastor David really shine. He tries as much as possible to balance the task and relationship. The facts are clear, the events, the roles, the service expectations, but at the same time, relationship are nurtured through mentorship. Mentorship is key. All right, you need to groom your people. That's your responsibility to also stand as a spiritual guidance and also share your experiences with them. These are some of the things that keeps them on check. So I give it to Pastor David.
Okay, thank you, Olivier, for that. From relational perspective, how would you describe Pastor David's leadership? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, Olaoluwa.
Okay, Mr. Steer, thank you. Yes, from a relational perspective, you see, Pastor David is actually a shepherd. Yes, he's a caring he's very caring and he's present. He creates space for dialogue. Yes, people can say their mind. You see that 20 minutes group check-in. It shows that he values feedback and openness. He wants to hear. He's open to criticism. He's open to correction. He creates an emotional, safe, and spiritually rich environment. Yeah, this is being relational. Thank you, Mr. Steer, once again.
Yeah, thank you, Olaoluwa. Tosin, anything you'd like to add here?
I'll just use two words for Pastor Dave from the angle of relational perspective. I would say Pastor David is a compassionate and inclusive leader. Let me just leave it at that.
Okay, passionate and inclusive leader. Oh, thank you, Tosin. Finally, for this initial deep dive into case one, in what specific ways does Pastor David's ministry truly exemplify leadership as an influence process? Perhaps, Olivier, you have some insights to share on this.
Yeah, Pastor David's ministry clearly shows leadership as an influence process. Reason is he didn't rely on authority or title. He influenced hearts. the minds and behavior by modeling faith. All right. You practice what you preach, and this is one area that he used, to influence the process, his leadership. All right, he uses his leadership to influence the people by modeling faith. Apart from just teaching it, he was also practicalizing it for the people to see. Perseverance and collaboration over time. All right, even those who resisted his vision came around at the end of the day, because he saw the vision. He did not allow the voices of men to deter him or to stop him from what he has called to do. He did it, persevere through the obstacles, and at the end of the day, he got the results. All right, that is what is important as a leader, and that's why he was able to influence the people, because despite the challenges, he went after his vision. Finally, he broke through and got results. So I would say that Pastor David's leadership actually influenced the people by showing the workings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Olaoluwa, for that.
That was okay, actually.
Was that okay?
Yes.
You sounded like you sounded like
It actually showed you wanted to hear my voice on this, actually.
I don't know why. I just like either your name or your voice. Okay.
Okay.
Olaoluwa, I can see you have something important to add at this moment. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
No, the aspect of influence is what I am actually I'm so passionate about. See, influence is not about control. It's not about manipulation. Some so-called mentors have turned to tormentors these days. No? Influence is about inspiration. Pastor David influenced others to grow in faith, to take responsibility and invest in community. No, that's what makes the leadership so impactful. It is said that an army of sheep led by a lion will defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. So it's all about influence, and that's what leadership is about. That's my final note on Pastor David's leadership. Thank you so much, Mr. Steer.
Thank you so much, Olaoluwa. Pastor David's story truly illustrates the power of visible, inspiring leadership. But now it's time to shift our focus and explore a different facet of leadership, one that often operates more subtly, yet with equally profound impact. We are going to dive into case study 2. Even quiet forces can lead, the story of Jessica. So get ready to discover how leadership can manifest in unexpected ways, proving that you don't always need to be at the forefront to guide and inspire. So now, Jessica's journey to becoming an influential leader in the marketplace wasn't one of flashy promotions or dramatic moments. In fact, it started off quietly when Jessica first took charge of a small team at a leading tech firm. She was initially met with skepticism. Her leadership didn't fit the typical mold. She wasn't interested in corporate jargon quick wins. Instead, she focused on something far more powerful, transforming her team from the inside out. Jessica, a committed Christian, began to reshape the culture by leading with authenticity, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to serve others. Her first move wasn't to roll out a new business strategy. It was to listen. In a high pressure environment where success is often measured by quarterly results, Jessica's approach was radically different. She invested time in understanding her employees' personal values, changes, and aspirations. Her leadership wasn't about commanding results, it was about aligning each person's purpose with the company's mission. Jessica's leadership became known for its quiet, quiet but undeniable strength. She didn't dominate meetings with aggressive tactics or power plays. Instead, she became a master at what she calls strategic humility. She would step back and empower her team to lead these decisions, trusting them with both responsibility and authority. Yet, her guidance was ever present. Her presence in the room wasn't marked by a title, but by purpose. A purpose driven by her faith. When the company hit a critical crossroads, facing intense competition and the temptation to cut ethical corners, Jessica led her team through the storm. With each decision, she reminded them that their identity as leaders wasn't based on what the company achieved alone, but on how they led through honesty and compassion. Jessica didn't just build a high performing team, she built one that would not compromise its values, even when the world around them seemed to. Through her leadership, Jessica redefined success in the marketplace, not by numbers alone, but by the way her team treated each other, their clients, and the community they serve. Today, her department is one of the most innovative and respected not because of the biggest profits, but because Jessica's leadership sets a culture of integrity, trust, and unwavering commitment to doing business God's way. Now, we've got some compelling questions to unpack her unique leadership style. So let's jump right in. First up, and this is something many of our listeners often ponder on. Bamidele, what specific leadership traits do you believe account for Jessica's remarkable success as a Christian leader in the marketplace?
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Mr. Steer Omoro. For leadership traits with Jessica, what struck me about Jessica is how counter-cultural her leadership style is, and in an industry driven by deadlines, in an industry driven by profits, in an industry driven by power dynamics, you know, she chose to lead with authenticity, pardon, integrity, and purpose. You know, as a Christian leader who does not just talk faith, but embodies it. You know, her humility also, strategically, and willingness to empower others demonstrates a humble leadership approach. Thank you so much.
That's a really important leadership trait, Bamidele. Ngozi, is there anything else you would like to add?
Okay, for me, I would say the leadership traits that accounted for Jessica will be servant leadership and integrity leadership. Why servant leadership? Because she was able to lead by lifting others up and prioritizing their growth and well-being over her own personal gain. And then in terms of integrity, her decisions aligned with her value, creating trust and moral authority in her organization. Thank you.
All right. So building on that, when we observe Jessica in action, operating within her professional sphere, Benson, how would you describe Jessica's overall leadership abilities in the marketplace?
Thank you very much, For me, Jessica's leadership ability is rooted in quiet consistency and her inner strength. You notice that she did not need to prove herself by force, but she won the trust of the people that she was leading, and she did that by investing in them, and she prioritized character over just quick wins. To me, she's a textbook example of servant leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Benson. Bamidele, anything you'd like to add here?
Yeah, exactly. Like last week I spoke, Benson. Jessica redefined what it means to be a high impact leader in the corporate space, in the corporate world. Her approach wasn't flashy, but it was deeply transformational. And that's what effective leadership does. It changes people, not just processes. I talked about inspirational, transformational. Jessica's leadership has transformed her team and even the company culture, by prioritizing the values and integrity over short-term gains. Thank you so much, Mr. Steer.
Thank you so much, Bamidele. I completely agree, especially with the part where you mentioned that it changes people, not just processes. Effective leadership does change people, not just processes. Now, for those of us familiar with leadership theory, we often talk about three core skill sets: administrative, interpersonal, and conceptual skills. It's rare to find someone equally strong in all three. So we have to ask, starting with you, Ngozi, considering these three crucial areas: administrative skills, interpersonal skills, conceptual skills, how does Jessica truly stack up on administrative skills?
Right, and thank you. I'll say in terms of our administrative skill, I'll say it helped her to be able to delegate responsibility, showing an understanding of team management. She was able to manage her team, showing that she has a very good administrative skill. And in terms of her personal skill, she was able to connect with people, which was one of her strongest traits. Like, she was able to connect with her teammates. And then in terms of conceptual skills, her conceptual skills helped her to excel in her visionary thinking ability and strategic leadership skills.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ngozi. So building on what Ngozi just said, Benson, how does Jessica truly stack up on interpersonal skills?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think her interpersonal skills are very outstanding, very, very outstanding. She's the kind of leader that creates a safe space for her team members to be seen. She makes them visible, and not just as employees, but at least, first of all, as people, so that people can see them as people, first of all. She knew their values, she knew their struggles, she knew their dreams, she understood them. And that to know that it takes time. That skill, she's very outstanding in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Benson. So to expand on your comments, Bamidele, how does Jessica truly stack up on conceptual skills?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Steer, once again. Jessica, in a leadership role, she applied what we call the three skill approach. Administratively, she has the skill of an administrator, just by demonstrating strong administrative skills to lead a team and make strategic decisions. And conceptually, Jessica's thinking was long-term. Like I said, she did not do all that for a short-term gain to her company. Her thinking was was with a long-term projection. So when the company faced with ethical pressure, she led with principle, values, and even if it risks the short-term gain, that kind of clarity and integrity under pressure is very rare and visionary. Jessica is a visionary leader. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Bamidele. I agree with you. Jessica is a visionary leader. So leadership isn't just about getting tasks done, nor is it solely about building relationships. It's often a delicate dance between the two. So we are curious, Ngozi, how does Jessica masterfully integrate both task behaviors and relationship behaviors in her leadership?
Thank you so much. There's actually a line in the passage that you read that says that Jessica's presence in the room wasn't marked by a title, but by purpose. I think that word purpose was what captured my attention in line with the question you just asked. A purpose that went for that to say a purpose driven by her faith. So I would say that to Jessica, for Jessica, she was able to foster a collaboration and motivate her team through a shared purpose and transparency by driving a performance through accountability and structured planning. That was how she was able to achieve that.
Yeah, thank you, Ngozi, for that. Benson, anything you'd like to add here?
Yeah, I'll just add that our leadership wasn't just about micromanaging or hitting quotas at all costs, like most leaders will do. They are just goal oriented, no matter what the cost might be. But she focused on a sustainable success, something that will last for long, where people can thrive, and the mission also stayed aligned with the values of the team and the organization as a whole. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Benson. Bamidele, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I was just thinking about this balancing task and relationship behaviors. Jessica balances task-oriented behaviors, but making strategic decisions with relationship-oriented behaviors, building trust and empowering a team. Also, prioritizing relationships. She prioritized building relationship with her team members, recognizing that this is essential for effective leadership and a positive company future. So that balance is why our department didn't just survive under pressure, but actually became more innovative and respected. Thank you, Mr. Steer.
Yes, thank you, Bamidele, for that. So shifting our focus a bit more towards the human element of leadership, because connection is so vital. Ngozi, from a purely relational perspective, how would you describe Jessica's leadership?
Thank you. From a relational perspective, I'll say that Jessica's relationship is one that models integrity. She was able to mentor others with spiritual wisdom and emotional intelligence, and also creating a culture that reflects kingdom values and humanity and humanity too.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ngozi, for that. Benson, how do you see this playing out from your perspective?
Yeah, so from the environment and atmosphere she created for her team, it's very clear that her team felt valued even beyond their output. And such kind of environment can create loyalty, safety, and also a strong sense of community. Yeah, to me, that's a game changer for her, and every leader should be able to emulate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Benson, for that. I completely agree from the perspective you mentioned that created loyalty, safety, and strong sense of community. Yeah, and finally, and this is a big one, leadership at its core is an influence process, inspiring and guiding others towards a common goal. When we look at Jessica's journey, Bamidele, tell us, in what specific ways does Jessica's leadership exemplify leadership as an influence process within the marketplace?
Okay, thank you again. By influencing others, I've always emphasized on this influence. Jessica's leadership influences others through her example, through her vision, and her commitment to integrity and compassion. Also, by empowering, members of in her team, she empowers her team members to take ownership of decision and lead with responsibility and authority. Demonstrating leadership is an influence process, like I said. Also, shaping culture. Jessica's leadership has shaped the company culture indirectly, prioritizing values and integrity over short-term gain. Like I said, it's not easy to do that, to prioritize integrity and values over gains that the company will, outlook. This creates a positive impact on the marketplace. Jessica is the perfect example of leadership as an influence process, especially in the marketplace. She didn't rely on titles or fear-based authority. She influenced by being consistent in her values, clear in her expectation, and compassionate in her approach. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Bamidele. She actually did influence um, her her subordinates consistently with her values. Um, Completely agree with you, Bamidele. Ngozi, could you share some insights on this as well?
Thank you so much. I'll say she was able to create a legacy of integrity, trust, and unwavering commitment to doing business God's way. Because when you look at everything she did it from a place of honoring God and upholding her values as a Christian. Thank you.
Thank you, Ngozi, for that. What's your take on this, Benson?
Yeah, for me, the word is legacy. Yeah, legacy. Her leadership didn't just shape her team; it shifted the culture of our whole department. And for me, that's a long-term influence on the company as a whole. So it's creating a legacy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Benson, for that. Awesome insights from our guests, and that brings us to the close of another insightful episode of Voices of Leadership, where we analyze leadership in action. What a rich discussion we've had this evening, diving deep into two fascinating case studies of leadership. To our incredible guests, Olaoluwa, Tosin, Ovie, Ngozi, Bamidele, and Benson. Thank you for sharing your profound insights, diverse perspectives, and for truly bringing these leadership scenarios to life. Your contributions have been invaluable. What a journey of discovery it's been so far. From the pulpit to the marketplace, we've seen common traits of effective leadership emerge, the importance of character, the necessity of diverse skill sets, the acts of balancing tasks with relationships, and the undeniable power of influence. Thank you once again to our amazing panel for enriching this conversation, and to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Voices of Leadership, where we analyze leadership in action. We hope you've gained valuable insights that will inform and inspire your own leadership journeys wherever they may take you. Join us next time as we continue to explore and analyze leadership in action. Until then, keep leading, keep learning, and keep making a difference. This is Mr. Ste signing off.